So I'd like to take a moment here to
I love a good 180.
just do a fucking quick 180 on this whole lockdown thing. I misspoke many, many times in the past about the legitimacy of it, and now I'm completely against it because Pine Valley Trailer Park is fucking closed until further notice. So it's directly affecting me and my personal enjoyment. Therefore, now I fucking disagree because it directly affects me. But
You got the email,
prior
right?
to
They
now.
told you. Were you ready to? Were you already planning weekends or what?
every single weekend for the rest of the
Yeah.
summer that I can possibly go, and as many times throughout the week as my wife will allow.
Man.
Super sad day.
So we were looking at booking some campsites over the in the coming up in summer. So a lot of these places just opened up the availability. They opened up the phone line so that you can book them. And it's like you call, and within 10 minutes of 9 o'clock, like the start date, you're like already 1,500 in line. It's getting insane right now. People are just seriously 1,500, 25, 20, you have 24,909, whatever the numbers are. I can't do numbers today. It's 420, but you get the picture.
Those are the only numbers you can do today. 420.
Yeah, exactly.
420.
You're like when you're waiting in the waiting room in Beetlejuice. You're number 9,999,000.
That's what it feels like sometimes, for sure.
Hilarious. Oh my god.
You're listening to Black Sheep Radio. Featuring Ben McVie,
All I'm saying is I'm sitting here with two easy criers.
Chris Brown,
I hurt my neck looking at my alarm clock.
and Mark Lefebvre.
It smells like I'm in a fucking rolling paper. It doesn't smell like weed in here.
Rate, review, subscribe, and share. Or join the conversation at BSR Podcast on Facebook and at radio_sheep on Instagram and Twitter. Here we go.
I'm almost feeling a 180 myself. I have to admit this, Mr. Lefebvre. Since we last spoke, the whole J&J vaccine kerfuffle has happened, the whole AstraZeneca thing where its availability in Ontario, we have a new lockdown, we have all that craziness going on. But in the midst of all of it, I have decided that, when I can get a vaccine, I'm going to get a vaccine.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
Good for you.
I was going to ask you.
I don't want a pat on the back or anything. I'm just saying is that I've been very anti just about every legislation, regulation, and you name it when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine. But I just give it to me and let's have it over with.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my call. My wife signed me up for mine, so now that because I'm over 40, it's like the first time I've ever been happy to be over 40 years old. She signed me up for mine, so I'm just waiting for the call when they have it. I get I'm getting the blood clot one there. That's the one I get.
AstraZeneca, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the J&J thing happened. No, but like when the Johnson & Johnson thing happened, where they halted administration of it in the States, really?
Oh, is that your call for your vaccine?
That's me. Anyway, when the whole thing happened, I thought of you guys because I was thinking, those two guys are going to expect me to jump on this and say, see, I told you so, and don't take the vaccine, which, I may have at some point. But then I thought, okay, well, let's see. 6 women, ages 18 to 48, passed away. One passed away. 5 got blood clots. But it's 6 people in 7 million. So if you could sell me a lottery ticket that said I had a 999,999 chance in 1 million of winning, I would take that. And I thought I would give you kudos, or at least say that I'm not completely anti-vax, regulation, anti this and anti
Interesting.
that. Yeah.
So was there one thing in particular that tipped you in this direction? Like,
What
are
was the
you?
epiphany?
Yeah.
What was that moment?
Well,
That moment of clarity.
There was no. My sister
Mushrooms?
is my sister. more on that later. My sister is my sister's a nurse, so I sent her a text and just said, "Listen, not as brother and sister. Let's take all this out of the equation. As a medical professional, I'm really leaning towards not being vaccinated because of blood clots and lack of trial and so on and so forth. What do you think?" And she just said, "Listen, you're 50. You haven't treated yourself all that well up until recently for the past 10 years. You really shouldn't be rolling the dice on saying that your immune system will take care of itself, as I've always done." So I went, yeah, you know what? You're right. And if it moves things along and it gets us all back to being where we were, then, not necessarily where we were, but just getting back to a little bit of normal life, then sign me up and stick it in me.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Cool.
I mean, that's part of it for me is just kind of hoping that that's maybe one step towards some form of normalcy again. I know that that's still a long ways away, but for now, it just feels like it's like the flu shot, like the actual one that you're supposed to get it every year type thing. I got it when like the girls were very little babies and when Sam was pregnant, but otherwise I haven't gotten it. And shame on me. I probably gave people the flu because of that. Now that it's something that's a little bit more prominent, I'll go ahead. I'm excited. I'm excited to go get a needle.
The state of the vaccine rollout right now is a lot of the people that were 55 plus that had like the first crack at these AstraZeneca vaccines, they kind of hesitated, right? Because they're like, oh, you know what, like AstraZeneca, it's like I'm not sure about the blood clots, whatever. Rightfully so. That's their right to do it. But now that it's opened up to 40 plus, what's happening is like everyone. I was seeing all the memes online, and everyone's saying, "Oh, congratulations!" Like all of these 55 plus, just now they're competing against people that grew up with the internet. So you might have to wait a little bit longer if you're like shopping around. So there seems to be a little bit of a log jam. At this point, I'm not eligible just yet. I don't know if I would take the AstraZeneca one, but I feel like.
I don't think I am either. I think it's still.
I just heard
it's
that
60 in
I've
Hamilton
heard
still.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think
I've
we're
heard
still
that the
at
best
60.
vaccine that you can take is the one that's in your arm. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the expression that I've heard from doctors, from scientists, is that the best vaccine to take is the one that's available to you. So just take the fucking vaccine, and the chances of those types of things happening are minimal, and they can treat blood clots, and it's just take it.
It's nice to see it coming around to Black Sheep Radio, though. It's got to start to come out of control. If we're on the list, we start hitting the list of people that are eligible for a vaccine. That's what I mean.
Speak for
You thought we'd be
yourself.
the
I'm the
last
first
fucking
man
resort.
at the finish line here.
Yeah,
Like by a
Ben
long
could have
shot.
got it first. He was in the first group.
Oh, I'll get it before you guys. Well, before you guys.
So good. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to take that. We got. I don't really want to go too far down the COVID line, to be honest. I feel like we've gotten into plenty of arguments.
Yeah, we're on
and
the
stuff.
vaccine. That's like the boring part.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
like
know.
leaving Canada's Wonderland and going to collect your pictures at the front door.
No, it's
Yes.
You're on your way out.
I'm with
not
Chris.
Get the vaccine.
I'm with Chris. We've yelled about it enough.
For sure.
Yeah, let's work through that. Hey,
I feel. Yeah,
go ahead. No,
No,
please.
I was what I was going to say was I feel like a little bit of dread coming on with all of like the social obligations that are gonna flood my way when it's acceptable. I'm never gonna have a second to myself, so I'm just gonna enjoy. I'm just gonna enjoy this silence for a little bit longer. You know what I mean?
Ben has a truck. It's going to be even worse. You know how many people are going to want to move all of a sudden when this thing is done?
For sure.
Hey, Benny, I got a couch. All these sofa beds that have been sitting in people's basements.
So true. Hey, I almost watched my first NHL game of the season yesterday.
Oh,
Almost.
like start to, yeah.
No, sorry,
You
Sunday.
didn't-
Almost, but
No, but not.
Rogers was being all finicky, and then they were
Yeah, they're like that sometimes.
even worse yesterday. But that's another
Wow.
story. My point is I am now ready for hockey season. I don't know if it's trade deadline, the fact that the Leafs are still relevant, the Bruins are suddenly much better, and hockey
Just in
is
time.
there's a lot of really good teams. Where all I could see was fault in this NHL season, shortened to 56 games, hardly any fans, hard to watch on TV. Wasn't watching it. Now I'm there.
Awesome. I wonder how much of that
Look at
has
this-
to do
Look
with
at this guy. Fucking
So
vaccines and hockey. Like, you're like what happened to you last week? You're like a new man. Your voice is different this week.
My voice.
part
I'm
of
going
me.
to introduce my new boyfriend. By the way, it is a week of change.
I wonder how much of like your delayed reaction to the hockey season has to do with just being a fan of a team that's been good for so long. Because for me, like with the Leafs, like I'm not, I never know how long the season's gonna last. So like I'm there day one to make sure that I at least get like, you know, a little bit of the season to enjoy. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep it too late and then feel like I'm gonna miss it when they get eliminated in the first round.
I got to tell you, I have no idea. I mean, this is coming from a Bruins fan who remembers 2013 and your Game 7 collapse and the many heartaches you have suffered as Leafs fans at my team's hands. However, all that being said, I cannot see a way the Toronto Maple Leafs do not win their division, and they're in the Final Four. Tell me another Canadian team that is going to beat the Maple Leafs right now.
I'll
Give me one.
The only reason I say that they're not is just history being
'Cause they're the Leafs.
that it is. That's it.
because of the Leafs.
It's like the Cubs. It's like the Red Sox.
Yeah,
but eventually it will. Eventually it will end like the Cubs and the Red Sox. And this could be the year.
Guys, again, I'm going to remind you, in 2011, right? I'm in my 40s already, and my team has never won a Stanley Cup, and has come painfully close many times in my. They won in the early 70s, but I was in a crib, right? So I had never seen my team win a cup, and I did. Don't count the Leafs out this year. I don't know they're going to win it, but they're getting close. They are.
Yeah,
They're getting close.
If they could put all three of those goalies in net at the same time, I would be like, for sure they got this shit now.
for sure. They need the Zamboni driver. That's going to put them over the edge.
Where's
I
that
think.
guy's career gone? Jeez.
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
The guy had the world in the palm of his hand.
And now that I've blown sunshine up Maple Leaf country, Leaf Station's ass, let me tell you, I have not
Talking
had
up the vaccine, the
I
Leafs.
have not had this feeling about my Bruins team since I did in 2011, where I thought,
They're looking good.
they look good.
They're looking good. I was watching a couple of the games, especially last week, because of the way that my fantasy sports schedule ran. It was a very impactful series. Like I was watching Boston really close, and it was scary, man. They're a great team. I can't wait to see. Be interested to see the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see these teams combine once it passes, the division lockdown or whatever. It's a shame the Leafs didn't get to play the Boston Bruins this year at all, but it'll be exciting if we meet them again in the playoffs. That's for sure. I don't even know how that lines up. I don't know when that would come into play, but that would be fucking amazing. That would be amazing.
I got so into it. As a matter of fact, today I was watching. I went on YouTube and I found a 2011 Bruins Stanley Cup run. I have to tell you how liberating it is to be a fan of a team where you can watch their last Stanley Cup final highlights in color. It's
Not just pictures.
it's a great thing. Yeah, they are not artist renderings.
Can I say though,
Folk
what might be a
tales.
little this must be a little bit disturbing for you as a Bruins fan, is that you're watching that 2011 Cup run, and a lot of the same guys are there, and that was a fucking long time ago.
For
Like,
sure.
those are a bunch of fossils playing, and I don't know if they can keep up with Matthews and Marner and Nylander and just the wave after wave of just youth that the Leafs can throw at you. Because Thornton, he's not going to be playing in the playoffs. He'll be in the press box. But just that talent level the Leafs have is I don't know. They don't have the pedigree, granted, but I don't know.
There's a guy I feel bad for this year. I wish things would have gone better for Joe Thornton. Yeah.
That injury derailed him at the beginning there. He was doing well playing with those top guys. Well, I think even I could have netted a few assists. Like, I could have got maybe a couple of bounces off my shin pads into the net for some goals early on playing with those guys. But yeah, that derailed him getting hurt. What can you do?
Yeah.
He's old. Jesus.
He's super old. He's still fit as hell. That
He
guy's
could
a tank, though.
he could definitely get the COVID vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely got that goal.
Yeah, for sure.
Him and Tom Brady in the same line. 45 and up.
That's so good.
Yager was there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to say, you mentioned fantasy sports, and I will say, despite the fact that my cell phone was basically completely useless yesterday, at least the Wi-Fi in my house still worked, so I could still access my
nice
fantasy and stuff like that. As soon as I went out to go pick up my daughter and stuff, though, again, my phone becomes just a 8-ounce paperweight.
So I feel like the Rogers thing is a little bit more interesting than my fantasy sports stuff, because I think the only person in the world that cares about my fantasy team is me. But
No, I'm sure Bree does. I talk to my wife. I talk to my wife about my fantasy baseball all the time, and I know she cares.
Chris, would you take a moment after we're done recording? Would you take a moment to? I don't know if it's a smoke signal, a tweet, an Instagram, a Facebook, or a combination of all of those things. But could you please send what you just said, send that to every fantasy sports fan out there. Could you do that?
It's true, man. Yeah, I can definitely do that. I'll do a sponsored Facebook ad, and it'll just be like, nobody cares about your fantasy sports team. Please stop talking to me.
I keep looking over just to see how my guys are hitting tonight.
Oh yeah, I've got a window open right now too. I'm watching the hockey scores.
It's like a drug. You know, I mean, they say that the cell phone, I mean, using it constantly, it is like a drug. It gives you that fix. For anybody that's in fantasy sports, if you have the app on your phone, it's even worse. Once your lineup is set, it doesn't matter. It's not like you can bench that guy for the rest of the game. Like, you've already set your shit. Just check it later. But no, I'm checking like it makes a difference. At all. So anyway, and then I tell my wife about it too. Like, she fucking cares.
Yeah, for sure. It's
I'm
payback. It's payback for the celebrity stuff, as far as I'm concerned. If I have to listen about J-Lo and A-Rod breaking up, then
all that TMZ I've had to
Brie has
watch.
to listen to hits on, like, how many hits Anthony Duclair got on Tuesday.
Did they break? Because it matters.
Did they break up?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
I thought that was
so.
meant. I thought that was meant to be. I thought that was the one that was meant to be. That's awful. It's like the 8th time is a charm. I thought it was like the Liz Taylor. Like, this was it. But
Somewhere
so
there are
crazy.
2 lawyers who have just paid for the next 8 generations of their family. Ultimately, 2 divorce lawyers who just got very wealthy.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys got hit by that Rogers thing. So what happened? Was it all day? Like, I should have I should have researched it, because I had an internet connection, so I could have, like, was it like text messages and calls and everything? Like, what wasn't working?
No text, no
Anything. If you wanted to get on Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, so long as you were in Wi-Fi, you were okay. But anything that you relied on data for was unavailable. Calls, texts, Gmail, outside of Wi-Fi, everything. Yeah.
People were up in arms about it. It was crazy.
I was a little upset.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it's like all these people complaining about not having a connection, but then they're somehow on Twitter. Like, it's like, how can, like, this one element of my phone doesn't work? Fuck Rogers.
Yeah, I will say, though, with my job, I mean, generally there isn't a phone call that's needed unless shit's going sideways. Like, you can pretty much just say, like, in an email, like, hey, blah, 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 just so you know, your email is closed. I'm going to send you pizza tonight. Or, your mortgage is closed, and it's fun and it's loose. When the calls start happening, it's usually, like, a lawyer and shit. So I was just, the fact that my phone didn't work, I was just, day off. Day off from bad news. Just good news today.
I said this yesterday. To me, it was very much like an oil spill.
Yeah.
It was like the Exxon Valdez, right? It's like I'm a slave bitch to oil, and I'm a slave bitch to my phone. So when things don't go well,
I see.
and
I thought you were like the duck.
no, I wasn't the duck. I was kind of the duck. I was.
You're the guy gassing his car.
I was that goose that was flopping around on the beach amongst the pebbles, screaming for somebody to come along with a bottle of Dawn. Okay, that's what I was.
That saves them all.
That's the way my day went. And by the end of it, I was quite frustrated. And I mean, like oil, to our cell phones, we have been made to be slaves. And I'm going to throw in this: as Canadians, we pay way too much for cellular service. Sorry, Rogers, you suck.
Yeah.
Like, do that shit start it at, like, I don't know, 1 a.m. on Saturday and carry it into Sunday morning. Don't lead people off on their work week when a lot of money, a lot of commerce, a lot of communication is vital between people. Not to mention there's this whole pandemic thing going. For what you charge and for what you say you can provide it. Don't do a software update on a Monday morning, you assholes. I'm sorry.
Is that what it was? It was a planned outage?
It was a planned software update where they didn't expect a glitch. This is my understanding anyway. I'm not saying I'm right, but my understanding, it was a planned software update for the whole Rogers network, and it was a hit and a miss. It was bad.
Imagine the guy that hit enter, like he's the guy that, like, he's the fireman, like, okay, yeah, we're ready to go. All right, cool. And then he hits the button and it's just, boom. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then you can't even call anybody to bitch about it. Can't even call anybody to warn them.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's crazy.
Whoever was directly responsible for that probably had the same feel. Remember CHCH and the gay male porn thing on the morning news?
Yes.
Remember that?
I did not. No, I did not.
Oh, Chris,
that.
you don't remember?
Chris, you don't remember this?
No.
CHCH.
I was safely in Mississauga when that happened, I guess.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, not really. No, I don't. I know.
No.
All of a sudden, in the middle of the newscast, someone, I think wasn't it a disgruntled former employee or something?
Oh my God.
Flipped their feed over to gay porn.
The company that bought CHCH, that
Wow.
owned them at the time, was a large cable company, and they owned several porn channels as well. So somebody made the mistake of replacing the live CHCH Hamilton local morning news broadcast with the most, I have to tell you, it was beautiful male porn. I mean,
It was fantastic.
it was. That guy was servicing that other guy like there was no tomorrow. And
Oh my God.
I was watching it. I was standing there going, "Wow, like this is on." So
They really love each other.
I thought
They
it was a
really
story
love
that
each
they were
other.
covering first. Like, I thought that they cut to like
A million and one things were
running.
running through my head. I was in the newsroom at 900 CHML when this happened, and I poked Paul. I won't say his last name. I don't know how much trouble I can get into, but I poked Paul and said, "Hey, what's on the TV up there?" And without looking up, he said, "It's CHCH," and I said, "I don't think it is." And he looked up and he said, "That's not CHCH," and it went on for a long time. There was 20 minutes.
Substantial.
Oh, there was 20 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Like,
substantial.
I
let me tell you.
finished. It's how long it was.
I couldn't stop watching it. So my point is, like an oil spill, or like showing gay male porn on your news channel, and like running people out of cell service for a day, all very comparable. It's not a good look. Sorry, Rogers. You shit the bed. Sorry.
Unbelievable.
You shit the bed.
Oh my God, I forgot about that classic moment in Hamilton news history.
Oh, man.
You have to say of all the time the points in the day.
Chris, it
that
went
you
on
can
for so
choose.
long. Sorry.
Oh.
I got to keep this going. It went on for so long that honestly, I was admiring this guy's work. Like at first, oh, geez, no, I don't want to see it. But wow, he's doing a good job. Wow.
No commercial breaks or anything? Did they like cut to like a Trident commercial and then cut back to gay porn? Or it was just gay porn from start to finish?
That would have been even better. You're like, oh, clearly it must be over now that the commercials are on. And then it just cuts right back to it.
Yeah, like the world was coming to an end. They were just giving her. Just giving her.
Jesus. Yeah, I was just gonna say that of all the times in the day to just mistakenly play porn, the morning is the most impactful by a mile. You know?
You think about all the retirement.
You're just not ready.
Have that on in the cafeteria during, in the morning. Everybody's sitting down to their, mushed up eggs and
breakfast
bacon
sausage
and oats, right? And what
Bangers and mash.
was the gardening report became?
Oh my God!
Cut from Taz Boga to that. And then Matt Hayes came in and did the weather, and it was over. So there you go.
So Rogers, I mean, we've forgiven CHCH since then, I suppose. Rogers, you had that was your moment.
Forgiven
yesterday.
but not forgotten.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's funny. It was all over Ontario too. Honestly,
Actually, I guess to be totally on parallel, it would have been more parallel would have been if Rogers accidentally played gay porn on everybody's phone all day long. That would be like a direct parallel to the CH thing. But I still see the parallel you're drawing. I'm just drawing perhaps a more direct one.
No,
every time you look at your phone.
No.
I
will say I
just
small business owners who rely on that network for a day felt like they were being made to, like honestly.
fair, especially when they get their bill. When they get their bill, they have to do it again with Rogers. Do we get the day off? Like, do we get a day off of our payment? Like, is it going to be like 8 cents cheaper?
They should. Honestly,
I'm sure you could. Yeah.
If Rogers had any sense of decency, they'd say the month is on us. They would.
So
it was that big. I'm not kidding. It was that big a screw up.
How can they pay George Springer's contract if they're doing that and giving everybody a free month of?
Sure, they'll
for
find
that
a way.
$150 million.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the like Ben was saying earlier, the cell phone prices are just atrocious. It's like Canada is like, I don't know, like double, triple the rest of the world as far as
the highest, if not. I did a little homework on this last night. Just comparatively, where do we stand amongst first world nations? And again, these sound like first world problems, right? But where do we stand amongst first world Western civilization nations in terms of what we pay for what we get? And we are dead last. Like, in terms of what we're offered for what we pay, we're getting killed.
Yeah,
honestly. I'll shoot you a link where you can download. For example, using your data in Canada, it costs you somewhere in the vicinity of 10 times as much to download a movie off Netflix than it does in Italy or Britain or a lot of European nations. The States is about 2/3 of us. Listen to any American cell phone commercial and what they're offering, unlimited data, this and that, and a new phone for this much. And I'm thinking to myself, holy Christ, that covers the cost of my phone. Never mind Amanda's and my daughter's. It is crazy what we pay.
It's
You know what it
nuts.
reminds me of? It reminds me of when you see like Burger King commercials, and it's like what, 99 cents for a Whopper? And then you realize you're on like some Buffalo station, and you're like, shit, like damn it.
That's
go
the
to
worst.
Burger King, it's $4.99. Like, oh, okay,
I
there
know.
we go.
I wish American Burger
more
King
like
would just throw in a disclaimer at the end, like, "Oh, by the way, this is America. Fuck you, Canada.
Yeah,
$8.99
just like a-
for you."
just a shotgun blast through the screen, and then I'll get it. I'll understand.
Or you're shopping on Amazon.com by accident and like add something to your cart, and then you have to switch over to the Canadian version. It's like $45 more expensive.
It takes 6 weeks to get there.
Fuckers, yeah, 6 weeks shipping. It's insane. And yeah, I don't know. Americans are looking good now. You know what I mean? They got rid of that orange bastard.
The
and they're all
mango's
getting
gone.
vaccinated. The mango. The mango's gone. Everyone's people like I've been. I don't know if these are conversations that you guys have had with people that you know around your social circle, but I've had a lot of conversations about people talking about moving to the U.S., kind of being done with Canada and like the restrictions and the like ultra like progressive, and being like, you know what, like I'd like to move to a place where people will just leave me alone, and I don't have to worry about the government dipping into my pockets. And it's weird because it's a new thing. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that before, or heard much talk about that before. But the whole situation with COVID has just got people, looking longingly at the southern border, if you can believe it.
I can believe it. I mean, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying, sure, I understand it, but no, I can totally believe that. Absolutely. For a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anytime I hear somebody say that, I just think of my mom. And my mom moved to North Carolina, I think when I was like 10 or something like that, so like 1990-ish. And she lived there for probably 10 years or so. And about 8 years into living down there, and she was a nurse. She worked at a great hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was, she made great money and all that kind of shit. She had insurance. And she ended up getting really sick when she was down there. And something happened. I'm not sure exactly what, but something happened with her insurance. And for whatever reason, she wasn't covered for the surgeries that she had to have and the 2-week stay she had at the hospital. And I remember her calling me and telling me when she got back home from the hospital, there was $250,000 worth of medical bills in her mailbox from different doctors, from appointments she had, from this x-ray, from this fucking $90 for a tab of Tylenol and all this kind of shit. So whenever anybody says that, like, yeah, you can get Nikes for fucking pretty cheap, and apparently Whoppers for 99 cents. But I think that I'll take our universal health care until that becomes not a thing. Then maybe I'd think about it, but I don't know. It's a pricey endeavor.
But wouldn't you want
I'll
a
pay more
gun?
tax.
Wouldn't you like a gun?
Oh, you know what? Sorry.
How
180
sweet
again
would
for
that
me.
be?
I do. I want many guns, and I want kinds of guns that I shouldn't even be allowed to have, but I am allowed to have them. Those are the kind of guns I want. I don't want handguns. I want, like, whatever bazooka is available to the
for
general
sure.
population, if possible.
Now,
and you need it because of the crime.
Now, guys, let's not gloat or anything about how much better our system is than the Americans. I mean, we have this problem with cops kneeling on people's necks. Oops.
Oh,
Right, that's down there,
good on
too. Just
good on
before
them for
we started...
prosecuting that.
Just before we started recording this, the Derek Chauvin trial came to a conclusion, and Mr. Chauvin, former Officer Chauvin, was charged guilty on all 3 counts. So he gets, second-degree murder without intent. He gets third-degree murder, and it's either second or third-degree manslaughter as well. All 3 charges brought against him, he is guilty of, according to a jury of his peers, and thank God. Can you imagine the Rodney King riots would have paled in comparison to anything that happened last year? It would have paled in comparison. If this guy would have gotten off, that was my biggest fear. Wasn't the insurrection? wasn't Joe Biden winning or Donald Trump losing or anything. If Chauvin would have been found innocent on all 3 counts, it would have been a disaster. Honestly, like it would have gotten really, really ugly. So I'm relieved for obviously the people who were related to Mr. Floyd or people of color or anybody who sympathizes and has been through what that man went through to varying degrees. Thank goodness that it didn't happen, that he got off, because that would have been bad. It would have been a train wreck. There would have been fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Did you hear some, like, I didn't follow the trial all that much, but what I did hear, some of the defense's claims that what was it? There was a car exhaust that was near his head when it was pinned to the ground, and that he asphyxiated from the exhaust coming from the car and not from like the knee on his neck. And I was just like, all right, man, I'm out. Like, I can't follow this shit anymore. This is crazy now. You know what I mean?
Give the defense credit. They certainly exhausted every single possible option.
They did their job.
They actually, some of the medical stuff, early on was relatively compelling in terms of, pre-existing conditions that he had and drugs that were in his system and things like that. But at the end of the day, the evidence was overwhelmingly that you didn't need evidence. You could see the video. You could watch the video. It's there for everyone to watch.
I do wonder.
Of pretty clear.
Yeah.
Intent.
Yeah. Pretty clear.
Now I wonder how much the jurors were influenced by the fact that it would have been the end of fucking humanity as we know it if they had said anything other than guilty. I wonder how much that plays into it. Because how can you have an unbiased jury in something like that? Like,
no, Mark, that's what I was about to say. Same thing. Like, I wonder how much of the verdict was influenced by the fact that the people, I know jurors are sequestered and they're not supposed to know much about the case or anything going on around it as it moves along. But I mean, surely these people went in knowing that this was going to be one of those cases where the verdict would have massive implications. And I wonder if last summer hadn't happened, if we weren't living in the climate that we're living in right now, if those jurors who were, I think it was four white, 4 black, and 4 not white or black. They didn't list the other 4. It was other, right? So there's 4 white, 4 black, 4 other, whatever that may be. But my point is I wonder if they would have gotten a unanimous verdict that he was guilty on all 3 counts if we weren't where we are right now. So hopefully it shows a little bit of a sea change in terms of justice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, hopefully the next time that happens, either A, the cop that is holding somebody down, or B, maybe one of the other fucking cops that's around thinks about this and uses this as an example. I listened to a thing about Trevor Noah. We all know Trevor Noah. He had a really, really interesting thing that he had about the police and about how, a lot of people say, well, there's some bad apples. And his sort of attack of that is that the tree is what is poisoned. The tree is what is bad. And it just happens to produce some good apples every once in a while. He said that the point of police is to control poor people. So they're doing exactly what their job is controlling poor people. Now, again, this is, he has his political feelings and stuff like that, but it was a really interesting thing. And even he said, he's like, I've lived in America for 6 years, and I've been pulled over 9 times. He's like, I got pulled over driving a fucking Tesla one time. He's like, did they think I was doing the most silent crime ever? So, will this be something that changes this, or is it just that the system is just a shitty system that's meant to hold down poor people? And unfortunately, especially in the United States, Canada as well, poor people are majority of people of minorities, ironically. The majority of people that are poor are minorities. So they tend to feel the brunt of that police sort of domination.
Just so you know, in the Rodney King trial, Stacey Kuhn, you guys might be too young to remember this, or you just don't remember because, you weren't following it. But Stacey Kuhn was the number one. There were 4 or 5 officers who were charged in the Rodney King trial. Stacey Kuhn was the Derek Chauvin of that trial. He was cop number 1 that they were out to get. He has been driving for a limousine company since 2012. Wow. And his passengers have included former Vice President Al Gore. Look it up if you don't believe me.
No, I believe it. That's weird. I mean, it's sad because
he got off.
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin's not going to be driving a fucking limo in a few years. I'll tell you that. He's going to be enjoying some solitary confinement because there's no way.
And that's why I'm bringing it up.
Population of a prison. Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm bringing that up. Is the fact that Stacey Kuhn was the Derek Chauvin back in that time. He got off a lot easier than I think this Mr. Chauvin is going to get off. He's done. They're going to have to hide him up in a closet because there's no way
that might not even help.
If he's in Gen Pop, there's no way he lasts a day.
Well, I don't know, man. It's a really weird situation. Like, it's you want to believe that, and then you see, like, didn't the guy have like a GoFundMe campaign put out in his name that raised like millions of dollars from supporters all around the United States because like they were happy that he killed this guy? Like, I want to believe that there's like some sort of poetic justice to this stuff, but like I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like if I was a police officer, for example, like a police officer, if I was like one of the people that would be working in the prisons that he works at, I would be pissed at that guy for making my job a million times harder. Yeah. I feel like I would be like, you know what, fuck you, man. Like, now, like, it's not hard enough to go, like, patrol the streets of this. I guess this was in St. Louis. It's not hard enough for me to go into these communities and get people to like actually talk to me. But now you got to go around killing people. It's just like, fuck, like, what an asshole. But it's tough to say. They have that brotherhood thing. I don't know, man. I don't know how the brotherhood would stand to this, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little. I'm not all that optimistic. Like that, there's just going to be this sweet justice. Like, I'm skeptical that at the end of the day, a guy lost his life, and I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think when you said at the start of that whole thing. You mentioned the term poetic justice. Yeah. Justice doesn't have to be poetic. It just has to be justice. And I think that just got served. So that's a relief.
Yeah, and again, like I said, hopefully this stops it. Not likely, but hopefully this at least is the new precedent that we're not going to put up with that kind of stuff anymore.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what's crazy is it's 4:20 today as of we're recording this. One of the things. No, hold on. There's a point here. One of the things that George Floyd they were calling into question about his character was that he had like marijuana in his system. Like, this was they used this as a way to discredit him and say that like he was a criminal and he was making a lifetime of wrong decisions or whatever.
But to clarify, it wasn't just marijuana.
No, not just marijuana.
Meth, fentanyl. There's a bunch of others.
Yeah, amphetamines and shit for sure. But like, still, like, it was in there. You know what I mean? It was part of the conversation, and like, not that far off. We're in Canada up here, and it's just like, not only is it legal now, it's been legal now for a couple of years, but I feel like it's way more socially acceptable than even I ever thought that it would be. I mean, we were talking in our group chat a little bit before this about how many weed stores, like, you can't walk around the corner without. It's like Tim Hortons now, right? Like, you can buy edibles.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's that much, but yeah, no, I see.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Shoppers Drug Mart.
Yeah, they're opening 2 up on Locke Street now. It's just crazy, and I don't know. I don't know. 420, I feel like it's a little bit different because there's no lockdown, or there is a lockdown, so you can't go and celebrate it. The whole puff puff pass thing has just been indefinitely called into question, so we don't know if that'll ever come back. Might be dead forever. Hamilton, previous to this, they had these really cool like weed festivals in Hamilton where this I can't remember what the I think it might be Where Heads Meet. They rent out a parking lot, everyone comes down, they have vendors from all of these on Ottawa Street. Unbelievable. Like it's a very it's cool. It'd be interesting to see that once it's legal because it hasn't been with the lockdown and all of that shit, but yeah, like are you guys celebrating it all 420? Like has it even brought have you even talked about it? Have you even thought about it today?
It's not really something. I don't celebrate weed. It's just a habit that I have. So it's like if there was a tobacco day, I wouldn't be like, "Hey, it's National Cigarette Day." So
Fair
I don't know. It's just kind of it's a habit that I have. I wouldn't even be out like I mean, I know you mentioned like festivals and shit. Maybe people out smoking. Like, I don't know if I would be at like some parking lot on Ottawa Street smoking a fucking big joint. Like it's not that I'm embarrassed or whatever. Like I just smoke in my garage. Like I keep that shit kind of to myself, and it's my little thing that I do. And I don't know.
Yeah,
So it's not like I need like a day of celebration. I do it every day.
This is
I celebrate I have a problem. I celebrate every day. Like, if I was an alcoholic, I wouldn't celebrate fucking St. Patrick's Day. I would just be like, every day is St. Patrick's Day. You know, what can you do?
Fair enough.
I'm kind of with Mark in that regard, in that 420 for a while there was, it was like a protest day where police and society at large would be. They would tolerate your weed smoking, right? No, it's just it's tolerated by everybody. So what's the point of really naming a day?
Yeah. There's 6 dispensaries at the corner of Ottawa and Barton. Six dispensaries. One actually the parking lot backs into another one. So I mean, it's not. The hippie culture is done. As soon as they legalized it, that's what they should have just done in the 60s. Just fucking legalized it, and then they would have been like, oh, what are we playing hacky sack and wearing all this dirty clothes for?
420 in Canada. 420 in Canada went from being like a protest movement into a marketing tool now. I don't know if you've seen any of like nowadays it's all these people, the 420 sales and all of that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's a place called 420 Love. There's a dispensary called 420 Love.
I got a flyer in the mail from 420 Love.
Yeah, a big one too.
Yeah.
Like a postcard. Now, I mean, as I said, like I use this product, and I like going to a dispensary because they have like many different varieties of either flower or cartridges or pods or whatever the fuck you want to buy. I was also okay with it like last year when I had to drive out to Dundas to go to Cabbage Brothers.
Yeah.
Or if I had to go over to Center Mall to go to Canna Cabana, or if I had to go way up in Ancaster to go to Tokyo Smoke or whatever, Ancaster Joint or whatever. Like there was like the kind of the 4 corners of the city. Now it's like
roll over out of bed
and
you land at the front door of a weed store.
Yeah. If it was liquor stores, how would people feel about it? If it was fucking adults-only video stores, how would people feel about it?
Yeah.
And I get that it's free enterprise, but I guess when I thought that they were going to legalize it, I thought it was going to be kind of like the LCBO, like you were going to go into a place and people wore like uniforms and shit, and like all the stores were the same, and they weren't called like Bart Ottawa Smoke and like they just it's like the Wild West. What's the difference between now versus before when I could go buy a 400 milligram peanut butter cup? Where are those days?
Yeah.
Well, like, bring the shitty product back. Bring the questionable product back instead of the questionable stores.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
it's super strong shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of get what you're saying there, but I mean, I would imagine that the liquor was being sold in Ontario before there was an LCBO. So I would advise maybe enjoy the time while you have it, because like anything, if the government realizes it has a giant money-making opportunity, they will take it over. That's the way it works in Ontario, particularly, right? So an LCB sorry,
Yeah,
a
WCO.
PCBO is coming up, right? A pot liquor, whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's not too far off. I don't think. I think the government will take it over.
Yeah, they lose me on places like there's a place. I'll leave them nameless because I fucking shop at them, so I don't want them to get closed right now. But anyway, and it has the sign that tells you what store it is, which is pretty fucking descriptive. It says the word cannabis in it. But then they've got like the huge sign above it that has like the weed leaf, and it's like buy weed.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm in Orlando. Like fuck off with the huge advertising like that. Like
Why does it make you
the beer store has a.
No, but hang on. No, hang on. What makes you uncomfortable about that? With okay.
I think it's because
I was going to say every company does that. Car dealerships do that.
Yeah,
they have their giant
weed. Cars are legal. Weed's legal too.
Well, no, Mark's just like, fuck, man. Like, why do I have to walk underneath a big fucking weed leaf every time I try to buy my weed? Like, why can't it be a little bit more discreet? I think that's what every time you go in, it's like they shoot out a cannon of confetti over you as you're going in. Yeah. Everyone can see you walk in. Everyone can see you walk out. It's a little bit more...
I think it's true. I think because we grew up most of our lives buying it illegally, the notion of buying it legally and it being a Shazam sort of product, like a car or a fast food burger, makes people uncomfortable buying it who have been buying it, a little bit,
for sure,
from some guy named Joe down at the corner for so long. You know?
Like if I were to open up a dispensary, no question about it, when you walked in, you would immediately go downstairs. Like, there would be a fucking downstairs. You go downstairs into, like, a dank, dark room with an old couch, like, lots of, like, old food likely stuck in it, probably Trailer Park Boys on the TV, like the DVD, or the DVD set, not even the
You got something there, man.
VHS.
Yep.
I think
lots of old VHS.
My head of security would just keep telling you stories about shit you don't care about.
Yeah,
for sure.
You have to listen to 3 stories before you can go. Prices are good,
right?
But you have to listen to 3 stories, and you have to smoke some of the stuff that you bought.
Yeah,
with
the person that you bought it from.
Polite.
I always hated that
from
shit.
the super dirty bong.
I always hated that shit, man. Like, that shit pissed me off. It's like, man, why am I paying to get you high? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah,
I always hated that. That shit always rubbed me the wrong way.
You have way more. I saw the bag you took mine out of. You have a huge sack of it. I have a little baggie.
That's true. It's not like I go to the gas station and tell the guy behind the counter to take my truck out grocery shopping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you buy a chocolate bar and you give him a bite. Like, here, you want a bite of this before I leave?
The one thing that always fascinates me about weed is, for whatever reason, like, everything in the world has gotten more expensive, but for some reason weed has just always stayed relatively the exact same price for as long as I ever remember.
The quality's gone up.
It's insane. I don't know how that makes sense. Yeah, forever. Like, a gram is $10, and it has been since, like, the 50s. Well, I don't know when it started circulating.
Back
but
when weed was grass.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's true. When I started smoking weed, it was like, the late 80s, early 90s, and it was $10 a gram. And a quarter usually was about $50. Now you're up to 70. So I guess that's changed a little, but not even back then. If you wanted really good stuff, it was $70. It has.
Yeah.
It pretty much
crazy.
has.
Yeah.
It is absolutely crazy.
Good for them.
So I don't know. So you guys said you don't celebrate 420 at all either. I don't really. I mean, it seems like now, because it's legal, the people that celebrate 420 were the people that weren't celebrating 420 in high school, and they're just like dipping their toe in the whole thing now, and they're smoking some weak ass bullshit. Yeah. And like, I'm just sitting here.
Some of this indica.
Mark's in his garage, just like, fuck off, like.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
Indica.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, indica.
So good.
Oh, speaking of, and I know that Chris and I were talking about this online, and I know, Ben, you just kind of like, sometimes I know that Chris and I will have conversations, and you'll just like, every once in a while jump in when something really like piques your curiosity that we've said. And Chris and I were talking about my recent mushroom purchase, which I bought mushrooms online because it's a brave new world that we live in now, and I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah.
And it was literally as easy as Googling mushroom delivery Hamilton. It's all I put in.
It's insane.
Found a website. They were fantastic. And what it actually reminded me of is just how awesome mushrooms are, because they're really, you don't feel like a trash heap the next day. If you can control that high and not hate yourself or hate it and wish it was ending, like you do sometimes, you can really enjoy it. Like I had the one night where it got to be like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had to work the next day, and I was like, okay, like this shit's got to end. Like I need this to end. So I was starting to get to that point, and literally all I did was I put in my headphones and laid in bed and put on nature sounds. I was fucking tripping balls for like half an hour in bed, and then woke up. And
That's
felt
great.
Like I was strangling myself with my headphones, but regardless, it was a lovely sleep.
I find, I did a similar thing too. Actually, I ordered mushrooms online. They came a little bit. It took a little bit longer for me to get mine than yours because we went to different spots. Mine took a couple of weeks. Yeah, I think the place I got them from was out in BC or whatever. And it's the first time I've done this shit in like forever. And I had the tiniest amount, like just an insanely small amount, because I'm terrified of this shit. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be careful. But you know, it was great. It was amazing. I had the time of my life. Fun. I was so happy and giddy and like just like bouncing around, like not really, you know, not to advocate for doing hard psychedelic drugs by any means. You know what I mean? But it's.
But if you're gonna do a hard drug, mushrooms is really the way to go. Like it's clean, it's natural, it's fun. The Matrix is way better.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be the guy who, as we wrap up, just has to throw in the disclaimer that none of us advocates doing these sorts of things.
Definitely not.
No. Stay away from that.
But if you want to try it,
The same is fun.
you can go online and order them within 3 days. Can you believe it?
They gave me tea.
3
They teabagged me too. And
Chris, did you buy stock? That sounded like a sales pitch to me.
I got stems. I didn't get stocks. I got stems. All right. All right. Have a good week, guys. We'll catch up with you next week, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already.
Thanks for listening to Black Sheep Radio with Ben McPhee, Mark Lefebvre, and Chris Brown. Join the conversation at BSR Podcast on Facebook and at radio_sheep on Instagram and Twitter.